Let's discuss the March for Australia. So, 15 million people, 55% of the population, according to recent polling, want to lower migration. People know that it's placing a massive strain on housing, on infrastructure. It's also placing a cultural strain on our nation because when you have very high rates of immigration, it becomes difficult to assimilate new migrants to the culture. So, 55% of people, 15 million people, want to discuss this issue. It's a serious issue for them. These rallies started because people saw young guys waving Al Qaeda flags and ISIS banners on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It became basically an online meme. People wanted to talk about what was happening to their country. They wanted to have a discussion about our culture. They wanted to have a discussion about our way of life. And these are valid concerns. It started off as a genuine online grassroots movement. Unfortunately, there are about 200, 300 extremist psychotic people in a neo Nazi cult called the National Socialist Network. This cult last week, they had a guy arrested for child sexual abuse material on their phone. These are creepy guys. They're very creepy. People hate them, okay? These guys, 200, 300 people, they saw the online meme going around, people saying, let's have a rally for the country. And they decided that they were going to try to take over it. And they made a couple statements to that effect. They said, oh, this is our rally. This is our rally. And the media decided to latch onto those comments and give them the attention that they craved because the media and the political establishment don't want any discussion of migration in this country because big business interests and property development interests, they want very high rates of migration because that keeps the GDP growing. So there's a very strong sort of status quo sentiment by major politicians, major sections of the economic establishment in this country. They don't want to have any discussion of migration. And they saw a bunch of Nazis trying to take over the rally and they said, great, let's feed them. Let's feed them. Let's tie this rally in the public imagination to the Nazis. And the Nazis love this because they get to pretend that they're bigger, stronger than they really are. Because it's 200, 300 guys at the end of the day. They've said that they're going to go to the rallies tomorrow and they said that they're going to do their salutes. They're going to go out there with their uniforms and try speak. They're trying to take over the rallies. And here's the sad thing. The concerns of 15 million Australians, 55% of the public, will now be caricatured in the media and they will now be caricatured by our politicians who will now say that anybody who wants to lower migration is a Nazi. And you might ask, why is it that this crazy group of 200, 300 Nazis would do that? Why would they try and destroy a grassroots organic movement that's patriotic, that wants to, advocate for Australian culture and our way of life? Why would they destroy it? They know that they're toxic. They know that people hate them. Why are they trying to so publicly latch onto it? Now, I'll explain why. What's going to happen is this. The Liberal Party will see the backlash tomorrow. We can already see what's going to happen. There's going to be headlines in every major media outlet in the country. There's going to be visuals of these crazy psychotic guys doing Hitler salutes. There'll be normal mums and dads there, and then alongside them, there's going to be fucking psychotic Hitler salutes. And they're going to use that and they're going to say, everyone here is a Nazi. Every single person who wants to law migration in this country is a Nazi. And what that does is this. Therefore, 15 million people, 55% of the population, don't have any outlet for their views. They're told that they're all Nazis. That's what the Nazis want. The Nazis want these people to have no outlet for their views. They know that the Liberal Party, the centre-right in this country, will run away from these rallies because they're terrified. They don't want to be slandered as Nazis. They don't want to be smeared as Nazis because it's the worst thing you can ever be. People hate it, okay? People rightfully hate the Nazis. And so they know that if they go to these rallies, destroy it all, it's going to make the centre-right in this country run 1,000 miles away from it because they don't want to be smeared as Nazis. And then what happens? Then the only people who will be speaking about migration, representing the views of 15 million Australians, 55%, then it will be that cult, that psychotic cult of 200, 300 Nazis. That's what the Nazis want, okay? And unfortunately, the political establishment and the media establishment in this country, they're almost colluding with the Nazis in giving them the propaganda victory they want, giving them the attention that they want, telling everyone, look at these guys, they're so powerful, they've got these nationwide rallies. It's 200 people. They've got 200 people across the country. They're just trying to take over. They're trying to use a pre-existing movement for their own agenda. And unfortunately, the major mainstream politicians and the media establishment, they're going to use that for their own agenda to try tar anybody who wants to law migration as a Nazi. And that's what the Nazis want because they're accelerationists. They don't care if the rally looks bad to 90% of Australians. They don't care if 98% of people hate them. They think that if they can make the Liberal Party run a million miles away because they don't want to be seen as Nazis, they think they can therefore own the entire space, which is 55% of the population, 15 million people wanting to lower migration. That's their evil long-term agenda. The neo-Nazis think We will make this so toxic and we will tar everyone associated with our brush so that everyone thinks that being for lower migration is a Nazi agenda, and then therefore we will gain power. That's what they want. Now, I'm a moderate person. I don't want the Nazis to get power. I don't want psychotic, evil, psychotic people to get power like that. I think moderates should say to the 55% of Australians, the 15 million people who want lower migration, hey, this is not a Nazi issue. We hate the Nazis. We hate the psychotic, evil racists. We're normal people. We don't hate people based on race. We want to preserve our national culture. We like some level of migration. We like some level of diversity, but we also want people to assimilate, and we want to relieve pressure on the housing market and on national infrastructure. This is a normal mainstream way to present this issue. That's how you stop the Nazis from gaining power. But unfortunately, the hysteria of the left, the hysteria of the mainstream media and the public institutions that are all in favor of migration, they will love to tar everyone with this banner, with this brush. It suits their agenda and it suits the Nazis' agenda perfectly. And that's the sad thing. The media and political establishment, they're going to give them what they want, and they're going to make the Nazis the headline rather than considering why 15 million Australians, 55% of the population, want a lower migration. I think that's bad. I think that's terrible for the country. We need to have a proper discussion about this without letting Nazis set the agenda for 55% of the population, okay? I think that's very normal. I think that's a very normal view. It's a sad thing. It's sad that it's come to this. It's sad that it's come to this. I'm a moderate person. I don't want psychotic people like Nick Fuentes, neo-Nazis getting power. I would like to lower migration. I would also like to keep the psychotic extremists at bay. And maybe we shouldn't allow everybody to associate this issue with Nazis. Then we can stop these people from ever getting power. Because the reality is 55% of the population, 15 million people do want lower migration. They're not going to go away tomorrow. You can go out there in the media and you can tar every single person with that brush. There's still going to be all these millions of people who want lower migration. If you tell them that they're Nazis, some of them will go to the Nazis. I don't want that to happen because I hate the Nazis, okay? So we need moderate, normal people to be able to represent this position in society, which is a legitimate issue. Legitimate people. It's a legitimate viewpoint to want to have some level of cultural preservation in your country. It's a legitimate viewpoint to want less pressure on the housing market, on national infrastructure. These are legitimate viewpoints. And we need moderate, normal people to be able to express these legitimate viewpoints without the hysteria of the Nazi label. Because I'm trying to keep the Nazis at bay. And I think any normal person, any rational person can understand this position, can understand where I'm coming from here. I'm trying to say, don't let these people take over. Don't let these people get the attention that they want. Unfortunately, Albanese, the Labour Party, the media, all these people who have a strong investment in keeping mass migration going in this country, they will tar every single person who wants lower migration with that brush. And that's bad. That's terrible for our long-term national cohesion. That's terrible for our long-term national social cohesion. If you tell 15 million Australians that they're all Nazis because 200 psychotic, mentally ill people tried to take over a rally for lower migration. That's bad. We need moderates to be able to talk on this issue. Warning, a warning from the future. I already know what's going to happen. I understand how those psychotic Nazis think. The accelerations don't give them what they want. Normal people should be able to talk about immigration. Simple.